how do I find all of these super cute, local, artisan, handmade only markets in my local area? Bless you, Moose. My dog just sneezed. So how do I find the markets? I have 3 tips. The first one is super simple. Just a Google search. I know it seems kind of dumb to be like, oh, my first tip is a Google search, but honestly, yeah, I find quite a few. And when I was first starting out, it's definitely a great way to go. There were 2 sites that I ended up using the most through this Google search, and that is FAIRSandFestivals.net and craftfairconnection.com. So these 2 sites are basically their own search engines for the different events that happen, and I do believe they both have like guidelines that you can put in for if you're looking for a specific state or a specific radius around a different location, stuff like that. So you can put in your filters and see what comes up and what matches, and it'll tell you literally every festival or fair that comes up, because organizers truly do use these sites in order to put out a call or just to show interest, to gather interest for their events. So those 2 sites and a general Google search, like if you're looking for a specific weekend, or if you're looking for a specific type of an event, like let's say you're super into making like garlic graters. I haven't made one yet out of clay, but it's super cute, whatever. And you want to find a garlic festival. Why not search garlic festivals in Connecticut, and then like hopefully something comes up. But yeah, Google's your friend. So Google searches, and those 2 sites I'm gonna link down below, so that way you can see if it works well for you or not. Let me know, I'd like to know. So those 2 sites will actually ask for like a membership fee or something like that, but I never would pay, to be honest. I would then see the name of the event and take whatever information was given to me and then open a new tab on my computer and search that. And chances are I'd be able to find the organizer or the date, whatever other information that I'm looking for, without having to pay for a membership. Tip number 2 is using Facebook events. So on the desktop, not necessarily on the mobile, but on the desktop, it'll show you art events happening in your local area, and throughout those, most people nowadays will post their events on Facebook the minute they know when it's coming. Sometimes they'll post an event just for an open call, and sometimes you'll have to click on the event and look in the description in order to see if they're still accepting vendors. So if you see an event that might be good, you'll click on it, go to their about or their description, and then see if they are asking for vendors. And even if they're not, it doesn't hurt to reach out and ask and try. I like to reach out by email, because I know personally Facebook messages are, I don't like them. They tend to be a little bit weird. So if there's an email attached, I like to reach out by email. I think it's a little bit more professional anyways, and it's a good way to introduce yourself professionally to this organizer in case they also organize other events. And you can also search by the date if you're looking for a very specific weekend, like let's say you work a retail job like I used to, and you're like, oh, I have that weekend free. I don't work that weekend. Let me see if I can find an event for that weekend. Then my last tip is probably the biggest one. If you're not into Facebook, I'm sorry, but Facebook groups are so good. So there are a few different Facebook groups that I'm in, and they all are around the topic of like crafter and maker vendor connection, or makers and organizers for craft events, something like that. So if you search for those groups and then put in your location, like for example, for myself, I would be Connecticut craft vendors, something like that. and see what groups pop up and join those groups. And there'll be a lot of open calls from the organizers, and then you can comment below whether or not you're interested. You can send them an email if they've posted it, or you can put your email so that they can reach out to you. And that's been the biggest way that I've found events, to be honest. And then that's also the best and most useful community that I've found. And then within building that community, you then have friends who do the same sort of thing, in terms of they make a thing and they want to go sell it to people in person, whether it's farmers markets, larger regional festivals, or just a handmade market for the holidays, because I do a lot of those. When you have a community or like a small little tribe of maker friends, then you guys can all recommend to each other what has worked and what hasn't worked, and it's invaluable. Like, it's the best thing is to go make some maker friends. And that way you guys can all help each other out. So to recap, my 3 tips are a Google search, Facebook events, searching general Facebook events, and then joining a few different Facebook groups specific for crafting vendors. So that way you can hopefully find some events to try selling your wares. It'd be really cool. If you have any other tips, that'd be super cool too. If you have tips in terms of how you find your markets, maybe some that don't involve Facebook, 'cause I know a lot of people don't really like it, but let me know if this was helpful. I hope it was. I'm thinking of doing a few other market things, because like right now it's January and a lot of people are actually trying to fill out their spring shows if they haven't booked any already. And some, like soon in February and March, people are gonna start booking for their holiday shows. So it was on my mind. And I do want to do a video about like how do I decide, or like questions that I ask myself before I reach out and say, hey, yes, I'm interested in this market. So I think that might be my next video. Thanks, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and hopefully all of the handy links are down below. Thanks.